If you're thinking of buying a house in Mississauga, here's how much you can expect to pay in the middle of March. So keep in mind these numbers will change slightly by the end of the month, but as of right now, if you're thinking of buying a detached house, average price for a detached house in Mississauga, we're sitting at $1.52 million. And that's actually down slightly. That's down about $30,000 or so, because last March, average price for a detached house in Mississauga was $1.55 million. And as of right now, you need deep pockets if you're thinking of buying a detached house, because the minimum down payment needed is $304,000. Like, that is an insane amount. So hopefully you have deep pockets because it's not cheap. It's not cheap to buy a house right now in Mississauga. So let's see if freehold townhomes are doing any better. Slightly better, obviously. They are sitting at $1.04 million to buy a freehold townhouse in Mississauga. And keep in mind, we still have 6 days left to go in March, so these numbers will change by the end of the month. And that's actually down as well compared to last year. They were selling for 1.07 last year. Now we're selling for 1.04. So down slightly than compared to last year. And the down payment needed, because it is over $1 million. So minimum down payment required is 20%. And that puts a lot of people out of the market. But if you have money, you can get a freehold townhouse with only a down payment of $209,000 only, right? Yeah. Now let's look at condos, see what's happening with condos. Condos obviously make up a big market, especially around the Square One area. Average price for a condo in Mississauga right now is $616,000. Obviously, these prices will vary whether you're on, like closer to Dixie, or if you're right in the middle of Square One. So obviously it depends on which neighborhood you buy in, but average price is 616, and that is pretty much identical to what was happening last year when they were selling for 616 as well. So only a few $100 difference. And the minimum down payment needed for a condo in Mississauga, we're sitting at $37,000. So a lot better, a lot more affordable, but obviously a lot smaller. Now let's look at a bit more detailed look at the market in terms of supply and demand. Sales have been going higher than what was happening last year for January and February, but we will see March might not be what was happening in last March. So to start off with, this January we had 376 sales, and compare that to last January, it was only 264. This February was also higher than last February. It was at 475, and last year February was 388. So both months beat what was happening last year. But if you look at March, right now, obviously we still have 6 days left to go, but right now we're sitting at 450 sales, and that, I'm not sure if it'll beat last March, because last March there were 590 sales. So I mean, we would have to do like 140 sales or something to beat what was happening last March. So I don't know if that's going to happen in 6 days, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So March might not beat what was happening last March, but another big difference compared to last year is, look at active listings. Look at this number. The gap between sales and active listings is huge. Whereas you look at last March, it was very minimal, like right there. That's why you were seeing so many crazy offers, or like crazy bidding wars and stuff. And in April, it got even worse. Like, there was no gap at all. And even between new listings and sales, very small gap. So hopefully, if you're a buyer, the market does not turn into this. Obviously, if you're a seller, you want the exact opposite. You are wanting the market to turn into this, because if you're trying to sell your house or condo, obviously you want the crazy bidding wars. But obviously, if you're a buyer, you're thinking the exact opposite. So now let's look at a 5-year comparison. Let's see what has been happening for the last 5 years if you want to get a bigger picture of the market. As I showed you before, prices for detached homes, freehold townhomes, and condo apartments, they are right here for March. This is what's happening right now. And this is March only, by the way, March 2020 all the way to 2024. And they are down slightly, as we already saw. They're down slightly compared to last year. But if you look at the peak of the market, which was February and March of 2022, they're down a lot. They're down more than $200,000 for a detached house, and they're down, I would say, about 150 or so for freehold townhomes, and down about 120 for condo buildings. But we are about the same as what was happening in 2021. Obviously, freehold townhomes and condos selling for a bit more. Now, I know a lot of people are thinking we're going to go back to 2020 prices. I don't know. I don't see it right now because look at the difference. They were selling for 1.27 and now we're sitting at 1.52. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. A lot depends on what Bank of Canada does, obviously. But now let's look at some other stats. This is going to show you a bit more clearer picture of what's happening in the market because all you ever see on TikTok and social media is the stuff that sells in 2-3 days. But this is also the real stats. Right now, there are 1,300 homes for sale in Mississauga on the Toronto MLS. And out of those, 176 of them have had to drop their price because they were not happy with the price they were getting, the activity they were getting on their listing. And 637 of them, so that's about almost 50%, have been on the market for longer than 3 weeks. So this is the stuff that you need to see if you're buying or selling. It's important to know the actual stats, not just selective stats. And average days on market in February was 42. So not everything is selling with like 20-30 offers and 2 days on the market, $300,000 over asking. So 42 days on the market is the average, which I think is important if you're thinking of selling. And SNLR right now, we are sitting at 47.1, and in January it was at 47.4. They say that 40% to 60% is a balanced market. Anything above 60 is sellers. Anything below 40 is buyers market. So we're sitting in a pretty balanced market right now at 47%, no change. Actually, the stat for March will come out at the end of the month, so we'll see what that number is. And if you want to look at month by month, what has been happening month by month, if you want to keep track, the prices were actually the highest. If you want to look at the beginning of the year, they were at 1.59, and now I showed you before, we're sitting at 1.52 for detached homes. And for freehold townhomes, they were sitting at 1.01, and now we're sitting at 1.04. So not much has changed. And condo buildings, they have gone up slightly. They were sitting at $594,000 and now we're sitting at 616. So not crazy, like not what you're seeing on social media that everything's crazy, everything's on fire, like you got to get in quick before it's too late. It's not as crazy as they make it seem. Sales are definitely up compared to last year, but as I showed you now, March might be at most tie of March of last year. I don't think it's going to beat it. Not as of right now. We'll see what happens at the end of the month. As always, if you guys need any help buying or selling, you can call or text me here. I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.